Hello, I'm Joseph Simonet, and this is my partner, Addy Hernandez. The name of our school is Key Fighting Concepts. It's a system we teach here. What we're going through today, welcome to Ultimate Sinawali, the definitive guide to double stick training. I started martial arts in 1972. I picked up my first pair of sticks in 1979. I was introduced to an art called eskrima. Through the early 80s and into the later 80s, in my area of living, there weren't a lot of instructors that taught systems of Filipino arts. So I was fortunate time to time to run into people who had background in Filipino arts, and that's how I gathered my information. Also, a gentleman by the name of Addy was big in the Northwest, putting on seminars that I attended 3 or 4 in the 80s. In the early 90s, I was fortunate enough to meet our stick instructor, Chris Petrelli. Chris Petrelli is one of the best stick players I've ever met, and just an incredible, honorable guy. His instructor, Grandmaster Capoe Kennedy, also came to town and did seminars, and we got acclimated into the art of dose pares and escrito. Addy and I are both black belts under Chris Petrelli in his system dose pares. That's what we'll be going through today. So Addy and I would both like to extend our thank you to our instructor, Chris Petrelli, and to Grandmaster Capoe Kennedy for giving us their knowledge of their art. So let's get our equipment and get started. I would like to take a moment and describe for you the weapons we're going to be using, or our tools of the trade, as it were, for training purposes. All stick motion can easily be conveyed into a blade motion. The only difference would be, in reality, we talk about stick to bone, blade to flesh. So as long as you have that in mind, the movements change a little bit. If I were to cut my opponent's neck, I want to drag the blade, the sharp edge, across my opponent's flesh. That same angle number 2, which we'll get to in a motion, the angles that is, instead of cutting her neck, what I would be doing is crushing the clavicle. Stick to bone, blade to flesh. Keep that in mind throughout this tape. Also, what we've done is we've created a training stick out of PVC pipe and some insulation and some electrical tape. What's good about this, those of you who live in an apartment or you have small children, for safety purposes and noise purposes, you may want to make yourself some safety sticks. If Addy goes ahead and gives me a slight hit with the safety stick, it doesn't hurt hardly at all. If she hits me a lot harder, it still doesn't hurt. This does hurt. So for safety purposes and convenience in where you are, make your own sticks. Remember that the stick motion is also a blade motion with a slight different emphasis on the drag of the blade versus the striking of the stick. So these will be our tools for this particular tape.